What is going on, everyone? This is NinjaGeek here, and it has been a long time since my last Call of Duty video, but in this video, I kind of just want to talk about Infinite Warfare's Infected game mode, because we know that Infected is coming back. Now, I don't think that, unfortunately, we won't be able to play Infected in the beta coming up, but of course it will be in the main game when that does release. And I'm just really skeptical about Infected in Infinite Warfare, especially after Call of Duty Ghosts version of Infected, which I'll talk about a little bit in this video. But on your screen right now, you're seeing the awesome version, the amazing version of Infected from Modern Warfare 3, because Modern Warfare 3 was, of course, the first game to implement this game mode, and it was the last Call of Duty that made this game mode correct and did it right. So, in Modern Warfare 3, of course, you had your Beast class setups, and you could get the Moab, which was the 24 or 25 point streak nuke, and yes, now in Call of Duty Ghosts, when they implemented all of this and they implemented Infected back, it was not the same thing as it was in MW3. MW3 had it down perfect, and maybe it's just because it was the first time Infected became a game mode, so it's like we're referring back to MW3 as the all golden statue, but I do think that Call of Duty Ghosts didn't do Infected right. For starters, the class setups in Ghosts were terrible. You could not survive, especially in the beginning of the game. They only had that one Bulldog class with no perks or whatever. It's like, you're really gonna survive with that Bulldog? Are you kidding me right now? So, I really just didn't understand that whole class setup, and you couldn't survive anything at all because you had no secondary. I don't think you had a secondary either. I can't even remember. But the thing that was really annoying about Ghost's version of Infected versus MW3's version was the fact that there was no countdown timer that led to 0. What happened was it would go to 0, but if somebody got infected, it would add like 2 minutes to the time. That's terrible, because the game would last so long. In MW3, I think it was perfect. I mean, some people may disagree with me here, but it was one countdown timer, and if people got infected, you just had to last until the countdown timer ran down. Why, if somebody else gets infected, does it add 2 minutes to the time? That doesn't make any sense at all. I hated that in Ghosts. Ghosts Infected was terrible. And not to mention, the maps in Ghosts were twice or 3 times the size as MW3 in most cases. So Infected ultimately was just very, very slow paced, and it just was not a fun experience, especially with the small class setups and how the weapons weren't even that powerful to begin with. Infected Ghosts was terrible, but the one thing that Ghosts did right, of course, that's different from Infinite Warfare now is the Chem Strike. So in Call of Duty Ghosts, you still have the Moab, or the Chem Strike, which is the Moab equivalent of a nuke, and that is what Infected is all about. It's about surviving and hopefully maintaining a high streak enough to get that. Now, Infected is not about, oh, I have to get the Moab, but it's in there for fun, and it's a goal to try and achieve to get the Moab or to get the Chem Strike. However, in Infinite Warfare, that's not going to be the case, because there is no, at this point in time, there is no confirmed nuke kill streak in the game at all. Now, hold your phone there. You're going to say, NinjaGeek, of course you're wrong, because it is on some weapon variants, but that's a weapon variant. They're not going to have weapon variants in Infected. Now, I could be completely wrong as of this, but in Advanced Warfare's version of Infected, there was no weapon variants in the Infected game mode, and I don't think they would have weapon variants, because that would not make sense at all. Why would they give players an epic weapon variant with a tactical nuke on it when, they don't have the correct amount of salvage to craft it or whatever? They would just give you the standard default class weapon, in my own opinion, from what we've seen in previous years past. They would not give you a random epic variant of a weapon, especially like we saw within Advanced Warfare. So, with that said, they're going to give you the default variants, which do not have the nuke equipped on it, and there's no nuke kill streak. So Infected is just going to be about what? Surviving, and that's it. You're not going to get that precious nuke or Moab feeling at the end. Infected is going to be even worse than it was in Ghosts. And for the love of God, please do not make the time limit go up 2 minutes every time somebody gets infected. Annoying. Put it back to the way it was in MW3, and make the class setups dominant. Give players something, because especially in Infinite Warfare, when people are going to be jumping around like the goddamn Easter Bunny, they're going to be jumping around so fast. Like in MW3, the Infected moved fast, right? Because that's just something that's in the nature of the Infected. But the game was much slower paced, so it was a compensation for it. But in Infinite Warfare, the game is going to be so fast paced itself that the Infected are going to be hopping around literally everywhere. We don't have a MOAB as of right now. I mean, there's no confirmed. I mean, I could probably see them. They might give out weapon variants, but it's really risky to say that they will, because usually they would just give out the default weapon of the weapon that it is. They're not going to give out the weapon variant with a nuke on it to everyone, because that just seems like a bit like it just seems out of the question. So that I'm just really skeptical about Infinite Warfare's Infected game mode. It won't be anything like MW3 was. MW3 had the hands-down best Infected experience in any Call of Duty game from Infinity Ward that made Infected. And of course, Sledgehammer had Infected in Advanced Warfare, and it was awful. It was terrible. And the reason that it was ruined was not only because you only had like the one class setup like Ghosts had, but the fact that everyone had a goddamn exosuit and the Infected moved so fast that you just almost died instantly. There was no hope for you in Infected in Advanced Warfare. So, I like the game mode, and I think it's one of the best game modes in Call of Duty history, one of the most funnest, but only in Modern Warfare 3 did they do it right, because in Modern Warfare 3 you had one simple countdown timer, you had the ability to get the MOAB like you did in Call of Duty Ghosts, but MW3 just felt the best when going for Infected. The weapon classes for each, class, like the Barrett one, the FMG9 Akimbos, the Type 95, I could go on, the Striker class. All of those had great class setups that allowed you to give you some challenge to survive. It wasn't like easy mode to survive because the Infected still ran fast and they still have throwing knives. But I mean, and also another thing, just thinking about it now, in Infinite Warfare, the throwing knives have explosive radius. So what if you're surviving and Infected with your teammates and an enemy throws the throwing knife and it just explodes and takes out two of your guys? Like, come on. Infinity Ward, make Infected the way that MW3 had it, because that is the only best game mode that from MW3. That version of Infected is the best. I don't care what anybody says. They could say, oh, I like Ghosts Infected where the timer went up 2 minutes because it gave more strategy. Nope, wrong. It was better the way it was in MW3, but sadly, there are just some things in Infinite Warfare that are really going to hold the game mode back. It will not act like the same Infected. It's like, oh yeah, we got Infected back, but it's not going to be the same. And that is what I'm concerned about, because I already know it's not going to be the same. It can't. I mean, yeah, they can make the time limit the same, they could make some classes the same, but the advanced movements are what's going to kill Infected in Infinite Warfare, and potentially the class setups and not being able to achieve a nuke. I mean, just simple things like that, and like I mentioned, the throwing knife with the explosive radius on it. I don't know. Infinite Warfare in general, if you're excited for it, fine. But to me, it's not that exciting. I'm more excited for Modern Warfare Remastered because, of course, that everyone is. But it's a game that, I mean, we haven't had a boots-on-the-ground Call of Duty in a long time, and we've been back to Black Ops 1, backwards compatibility, World at War. I mean, just simple things like that are what the Call of Duty community wants. And I know people that are excited for Infinite Warfare, and lots of people that are not. But still, I am just not excited for Infinite Warfare at all. Am I going to give it a try? Absolutely. I'm going to be playing the beta. But it's not even that Infinite Warfare is going to be a bad game. I just think it's boring already. Now, I didn't even play the game, and I think it's boring just because literally everything in the game relates to Black Ops 3, in my own opinion. The combat rigs, the payloads, whatever you call them, I'm confused as to what is what. You could have both on at the same time. It's too confusing to me, and, I don't think that I'm necessarily a dumb person, but I cannot figure out what this payload trait rig crap is. The specialists in Black Ops 3 were as far as I ever want Call of Duty to go, but they just made it into something, like, they just add so much crap to it and make it looks exactly like Black Ops 3, but with added extra features that don't need to be needed, and it's just, like, boring to me already. It's like, oh, this is boring, and, That's all I wanted to say. I just wanted to get my thoughts out there on Infinite Warfare, especially on Infected, the game mode, one of the best game modes in Call of Duty history, and how it's probably going to be dead after Infinite Warfare, because Infinite Warfare is going to kill this game mode. It's not going to be the same at all as what it was in MW3. Now, maybe they could blow me away and completely surprise me. They're going to add the nuke into, maybe they'll add the nuke specifically into Infinite Warfare's Infected only. Like, maybe they'll do that. I don't know. Maybe they might, make it more like MW3 was, which I hope is the case, but judging from the facts from previous Call of Duties, Call of Duty Ghosts, Advanced Warfare after that, it just does not add up to make sense that Infinite Warfare's Infected game mode is going to be the same as Modern Warfare 3's. But you can let me know your thoughts all on this down below. Hope you did enjoy. You know what to do if you did, and I'll see you on the next one. This is NinjaGeek. I'm out, and peace.